What's going on YouTube? 6'5" Rider here, coming back to you with another video. In today's video, I wanted to take the Road Glide out and give you guys a long-term review and an ownership experience on this bike. I've had this bike for a little over 2 years now, about 2 years and 3 months or so. I've put over 12,000 miles on the bike, and just want to tell you guys all my thoughts and my impressions. Before I bought this bike, it was actually my dream motorcycle, and I was so glad to be able to actually make this purchase and make this baby mine, you know. So let's go ahead, get on the bike, and I'll tell you guys all about it and my experience owning this beast right here. Alright, let's start from the beginning, yo. Like I mentioned in the intro, I've had this bike for a little over 2 years now. I've put a little over 12,000 miles on the bike. I bought it back in June of 2023. It was a secondhand, you know, it was a used bike. It's a 2020 Road Glide Special. And the original owner only put like, I want to say 1,200 miles on it since he owned it or whatever, but he was like going through a divorce or something, and he really had to sell it, which was a really great buying opportunity for me, because right before I bought it, I was actually at the dealership and I was trying to go and buy a brand new 23 model, and they wanted like 36 at the door, bro. When I ended up buying this one for like 23.5 or something like that, and it only had 11 or 1,200 miles on it. So anyway, I bought the bike. It was brand spanking stock, man. It had absolutely nothing done to it except for a Corbin seat, Corbin Widowmaker, I believe, which I got rid of, and then this center console right here. Because if you guys didn't know, on the 2020 model, the gas cap came in the middle, whereas the 2021 model, the gas cap came right here on the right side. Well, the 2021 and after. And so I'm really glad that the original owner actually changed this, because I don't know if I would have gone ahead and done that myself, to be honest. Just because it's such a small part of the bike, I don't know if I would have changed it. But he did a great job, because he chose a Hoffman center console here, and it's all in carbon. It's pretty freaking sick. So yeah, I bought the bike. It was completely stock, which is honestly what I wanted, because I wanted to kind of bring the vision of the motorcycle, and I wanted to build it myself. I didn't want anybody else's touches on the bike. So I bought it, and I slowly started building it out into what it is today. Me and this bike have definitely been through a lot of riding, man. We've been through a lot of riding. We've done a lot of trips on the bike. I've done Daytona a bunch of times. I took this bike to Sturgis. Granted, I didn't ride all the way up to Sturgis, as many of you guys know, but we did trailer the bikes up to Sturgis. I had it up there in the mountains, and it performed amazingly, man. It really is one of the best Harleys out there. Like, you know, that's why Harley-Davidson, one of their biggest sellers as a motorcycle company, is the touring line. You know, you got your Road King, your Road Glide, and your Street Glide, and it really makes sense that this is their best seller touring motorcycle out there, just because of how good it feels and how stable it feels, especially if you're doing long distance riding. Let's start off from the top, man. I want to start off with reliability, which is probably the thing that a lot of people wonder about these motorcycles. Let me tell you one thing for sure, bro. Knock on wood, knock on steel, knock on my exhaust, whatever it is. In the 12,000 miles that I've owned this bike, I have not had a single issue with it. Let me repeat that. In the 12,000 miles that I have owned this bike, I have not had a single issue that is a manufacturer issue. Let me make that clear. Manufacturer issue meaning something going bad on the bike or it's leaving me stranded somewhere. or something along those lines. Haven't had any of those conditions. Did I have a couple of issues? Sure I did, but those were probably caused by some parts that I put on the bike, and I'll tell you about them a little bit later here in the video. I can tell you the stock battery, again, it's a 5-year-old bike. The stock battery gave out last year, I want to say, sometime in 2024 or maybe earlier this year, where I left it sitting for a while, and one day I went to start it to go out and the bike wouldn't start. I jumped it and it was fine after, but when that happened, I thought the reliability was done for the battery, so I went and bought, you know, an aftermarket battery from Battery Plus or whatever. So it wasn't really much. I've done all the services on this bike myself. You know, every time I do an oil change, I always do a 3-hole oil change. Usually do it anywhere between 2,500 to 3,000 miles. It's super easy. I've done a video on it. You guys can check it out here. That was honestly the only like real maintenance that I've done on the bike. And as you guys know, I've done a bunch of stuff to my bike. It's far from stock, whether it's the seat, whether it's the aftermarket cam or the exhaust. And honestly, the way that I have the bike set up for my size, you know, with the taller bars, with the taller seat as well, I kind of feel like I have so much control on this bike. And so that's reliability, you know. It's just easy to say that I haven't had any issues with it. They upgraded the oil pump. I believe that was an issue with earlier models where it kind of failed. So on the 2020 model, they put a newer oil pump on it. And so as far as reliability goes, this bike was A-okay, man. Haven't had any issues with it. Knock on wood, it has never left me stranded anywhere. So yeah, no issues to report there. As far as ergonomics go, I'm 6'5", 270 pounds. I don't know if you guys have seen my video regarding the top 3 tall rider modifications that I've done to this bike, but you can check that out. And stock bike definitely does not fit me and I feel super cramped up, but with the modifications that I've done on this bike, it fits me really well and I'm super comfortable on it. As far as performance goes, you know, the stock 114s, they're a heavy bike, don't get me wrong. It's like a little over 840, 850 pounds, something along those lines. Plus you add my 270 pounds and then it's as if you're driving a big ass truck, man. But if it comes to like your normal everyday riding, or a person that wants to do some touring and kind of take it chill, then to be completely honest, the stock motor, the 114 with the stock tune is absolutely fine. You don't really need much more. However, on my bike I did do a stage 2 on it, basically a full exhaust, a full air intake, which is this guy, the Arlen Ness. And then I did put an aftermarket cam on the bike, as well as get it dyno tuned by the good folks down south in Miami at All American Cycle. And I tell a lot of people that if you want to, you know, pick up the performance on your touring motorcycle, honestly, you don't really need to do much more than this. There's no reason to go with a big bore kit. There's no reason to go with anything, honestly, bro, unless you're trying to race that bike. But for your good old everyday touring and riding, you don't need to go much more than a stage 2. And that puts the bike exactly where it needs to be. And if you do that with one of the Gen 2 M8s, the 117s, bro, you don't even need to do anything else. That's it. So I'm pretty happy with the way it sits right now. I know, like, whenever I'm out with my friends, a lot of them got the 117s and they got like cams on them and whatnot, and I can catch up with them, but a lot of times on the highway they're like way away from me. They kind of get away from me, you know, but it's fine. I'm okay with it. It's something that I'm okay with. I'm not trying to race. I'm not trying to do anything of that sort. So I'm just trying to get a bike that has decent amount of power that can honestly support my weight. And again, if you're a smaller guy and weigh a little bit less than I do, and you take this bike, stage 1 is more than enough for you. But you won't get this. hear the boom, 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 that rumble. You won't get this on the bike. So if you want that, you definitely need to get a cam. Otherwise, it will not sound like a twin cam, you know. One thing I really love about this bike is the customizability, bro. Like, you can bring like 15 baggers and park them all next to each other, and not a single one would look exactly the same as the other one. Just because there's so much aftermarket support and so many aftermarket parts to really dial in the bike to make it your own, you know. You can build it exactly how you kind of like envision it, and it would not look similar to, you know, a different touring motorcycle, which is pretty cool. Let's touch up on some cons really quickly. It's a Harley, it's expensive, it's really freaking expensive, you know. It's like, when this was new, it was like $28,000 or $29,000. So that's a lot of money for a motorcycle, man. If you're planning to spend that much money, you can go and buy a freaking car, and a decent car, for that much money. So cost is definitely prohibitive. In addition to cost, when you get the bike stock, you obviously want to modify it, you obviously want to make it your own bike. And the aftermarket parts on a bagger compared to like when I had the Street Bob parts are so much more expensive, dude. Like, I'll give you a big example, and this is something that you guys probably know of, but for example, the thrashing setup, my thrashing bars right here, this whole setup with the triple tree, with the riser and the handlebar, as well as the gauge relocation kit, this cost in parts alone a little over $2,000, man. Just think about that. $2,000 freaking dollars just for a handlebar setup. My entire cam setup with the dyno tuning and all, that was also a little over $2,000. It was like $2,500, $2,400 bucks. So yeah, cost is definitely prohibitive for a lot of people for getting into the touring market. And that's why when I bought it, I decided to go pre-owned, because I know that if I bought it brand new, it would have been super hard for me to build it out with everything that I want on it. Like I mentioned, cost is definitely the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to, like, you know, a touring motorcycle or a Harley bagger or whatever, just because, you know, just the entry point, just to get into one of them, you got to spend a shit ton of money, unless you're trying to buy a really old used one. Oh, before I move on to the next con, I wanted to give another pro for this, you know, these touring motorcycles. Storage space, bro. Storage space is amazing. You can do a lot by just having this motorcycle with this amount of storage space. Like, I got my saddlebags here in the back. They fit a shit ton. I got this little bit of storage here. I used to have a little handlebar bag over here that I used to put little things in. And then obviously you can get a tour pack in the back. There's so many storage options for these bikes that would allow you to actually like tour for days, you know. Going back to the cons, honestly, guys, I can't think of another con other than cost, just because, like, let's say you had unlimited amount of money, then you can literally build this to be whatever you want it to be, you know what I mean? You want it to be like a drag bike, you can spend a shit ton of money and make it a drag bike. You wanted to make it like a track motorcycle, then you can freaking do that too. I mean, look at the king of the baggers races. You want to be able to take corners with it and freaking drag knees and whatnot. Again, look at the king of the baggers. It's just all about money and to what you can make this platform, man. I can say that weight is a little bit of a con too, but again, it's a con but also a pro, because once you're on the highway, dude, oh my god, on the highway, it's so freaking stable, dude. Even getting it up to 120, 130 miles an hour. This bike is so freaking stable on the highway. It feels like you're on a Cadillac, you know what I mean? You do get a little bit of vibration and stuff on the handlebar from the cam, and because I have solid bushings, or I have no bushings here. But again, it's so stable, like no amount of wind and whatnot is just gonna like make you play all around in the highway compared to like a lighter motorcycle. These are just some of my thoughts on this bike and this touring platform. If you're thinking about getting one of these, I highly recommend that you go and sit on it, you take it out for a test ride, because the weight can really be a con for you, especially in slow speed maneuvers. For me, it's not really an issue at all, just because I've lived with this bike for over 3 years, or over 2 years and a half. I've been riding motorcycles for almost 12 years right now, and I pretty much have it down. You know what I mean? I can do like super tight U-turns on the bike, little figure eights and whatnot. So I got the slow speed maneuvering thing kind of on hand, and there's nothing special about me, guys, doing this. It's all practice. That's literally what it is. So go ahead, ride the bike, see how it feels when it comes to like the weight, and if you're able to handle it. And you know what, as long as it's not your first bike, definitely don't make this your first bike, but as long as it's not your first bike, then you can really grow into it and kind of learn some of those things. I can tell you, with the stock handlebars, the control was absolutely shit because of my height, and like a couple of times when I would turn it, it would like hit my knees. You know what I mean? But with these handlebars, the T-bars specifically, I feel like I have it really nailed down. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna enjoy this beautiful sunset, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Alright, peace y'all, later.